Hello, actors. I'm making this video. It's not something I normally do. Usually I'm watching the video and I'm making it because being an actor is hard and I haven't even been doing it that long. It's just like wishing that I could learn all the lessons right now. I watch all these videos, as I said, and people tell you everything they've learned, but honestly, you can apply some of it because some of it you sort of have experienced and they sort of put words to your like confusion or something. But some of it you're not exactly sure how that feels to actually realize that, and that you can't force it. I go to a community college, so I've been doing community college theater. I only did one play so far. And then I'm gonna do the musical. I'm just ensemble, but I'm gonna be the best dang ensemble member there ever has been, and that I'm happy about. But then like the stuff that I care a little bit more about, like film acting, I've tried to do it on and off sort of for the past like 3 years. I would say very on and off, mostly off, because I was just trying to gain a lot of confidence. So I got Actors Access and Backstage, and I don't use Backstage right now anymore, but I use Actors Access. And I used to just do like every January I would start pumping out the tapes, but now it's February. And I'm not gonna lie, I've never really made it to like a February or like made it more than a month. And it's like that learning curve, I'm hitting it and it feels like a wall, but it's a curve. And it makes me a little emotional talking about it, but yeah, it's just hard. I don't think I'm gonna post this part, but it's real, I mean, actors are very emotional people, I would think, and I think one thing that we have to get used to as actors is sharing that emotion and making it a little bit more normal than it feels. And yeah, usually we're surrounded by people who don't really feel that way, and we're sort of told to not be the way that we just are. But in the end, there is a place for us, and I don't know what the point of this video is other than to tell you that you are not alone, I guess, because it can feel like you're alone because you're auditioning. I haven't even okay, how much have I actually even auditioned? So my actor's access journey, or my actor's journey, is I've theoretically only booked one thing, and not since I've restarted. I submitted. I don't even think I auditioned for this project, but it was like a student film from NYU coming down there to film, and I just sent my headshot. I don't even think I had a reel. I got a message and it said an offer, and I was like, an offer? I didn't even submit an audition. And it was like, we decided to go a different way with the character that you applied for, but I'd love to have you as an extra. And that I did. I was just like, well, heck yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I did that. And honestly, I guess I never really considered that as booking something, because I was just like, oh, I'm just an extra. It was a really cool process, and I booked it. I did. I don't know how many other people applied, but that doesn't really matter. I booked it. It was useful. So that's my credit for you. I also went to high school for film. At first I went for theater, and then I got scared, and yeah. And then I started doing films because I was like, well, you still get to kind of do the same thing, but you're creating stuff more, so let's see. But before that, there was just this one day I was just like, I kind of want to be an actor. I think that was during quarantine, but I was just a very shy kid, and I'm still very shy. I've become more outwardly social, but my shyness just manifests itself as like insecurity and isolation, which is easy to do when you're just submitting self-tapes into a void. So, the life of an actor. Luxurious, no. It's a lot of putting yourself into the potential of something and having to come to terms with the fact that it's personal for you, but it's not personal for them, because you have to make it personal. That's our entire job, is to make it personal. The decision isn't personal in the end, yet it is. That's the really tough part, is that everything is personal, but it's not. Yeah, I'm just saying the same thing over and over at this point. Like, I know it, but I don't know how to handle it yet. Also, here's a horror story, an acting horror story. This is why I started taking myself a little bit more seriously when it came to submitting self-tapes, because it did feel like I was submitting into a void when I first started out. I started doing it again in like April of last year, I believe, but I was not mentally ready. And I did one tape and it was actually not that bad. And I submitted it. And well, I have a bad habit, like many, of checking my phone constantly for some sort of update. It's wishful thinking. Yeah, I submitted a tape for something, like one of the first things when I got back on Actors Access. And I was like, oh my god, I kind of enjoyed making that tape. I kind of liked this project. This is kind of weird that I like it so much. It's kind of hurting me a little bit. Well, not like hurting me, but I was becoming a little attached to it. That's also a problem that I still have. I sent that in, and then I was like, because I know I will check it all the time, let me not let myself check it. I'm not gonna check it for an entire week. And lo and behold, I didn't check it for an entire week. And then I came back on it, and I had a C-mail message. And I was like, oh, I have a C-mail message. That's what I said to myself. And I open it, and it's a request for a Zoom callback. And I was like, oh my god. And then I look at the date, and the Zoom callback was actually like, I think it was like the day before I decided to check my phone again. And I hated myself so bad. I was like, why didn't I get the email for this? Because usually, you know, you don't have to open Actors Access and it'll email you if you got a C-mail message. And I was like, what's going on? I don't know. I'm doing a really bad impression of me. I can't take this seriously. It's very embarrassing, honestly. I was like, oh my god. I cannot believe I wasted this opportunity. I just completely let this opportunity pass me by. They soar by me, yet right in front of my eyes. Never again. Well, at that point though, I was like, I can't take this. And I think like I just didn't audition for anything. I didn't even check really. Like they would send me breakdowns, right? Like they were like, you would fit this. And I was like, I don't deserve anything. I was kind of scarred by that. But at the same time, you might hear a cat meowing first of all, and he's okay. Oh, but at the same time, you know, I found a little bit of self-worth in that. I know, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't find self-worth in validation from casting. But you can't say it doesn't feel good. But that's also the thing. I just have to learn. I know I have to learn it, but it seriously is always on my mind. And I just gotta power through. And I know I can do it because I've changed a lot in my life. And you probably have too, and you can do it too. You're probably thinking, I can't imagine a reality like that because you haven't lived one yet, but there's a lot of things that you haven't done that you will do someday. So I recently, I think it was just the beginning of January, I got back on Actors Access, and I also just started doing like, there's like a theater website that's my area, so there's probably one for your area that you should check. So usually I would like look at the listings on there and be like, oh my god, that's scary. If there's time slots available and you can make the time slot, you really have no excuse. It's true, you kind of have no excuse. So that's just what I sort of taught myself, and it was scary, but once you get a few of those like in-person auditions done, it's so fun. Okay, that's because we get to do our thing, but auditions are not paid, which I understand. If they had to pay us for auditions, they'd be calling in a lot less people. It's also like, that is our work, and there's so much time that we spend at home prepping, and there's just so much that goes into it that it's just unfair. It's a hard profession. I've started doing like theater auditions while they let you tape sometimes, and then I signed up for Actors Access beginning of January, and it's now February 16th, I think. We're almost 2 months into this. And you know, when I first signed up, I got a good headshot. I like my headshot, okay? That's good. If you like your headshot, that's good. I think that's important. I think it's also important to like have something about your headshot that stands out. For me, I think it's the color of my background, bright, but it also goes really well with my skin tone. I just asked my friend to take them, and she did it for free, which was really nice. So if you have that friend, and even if they're not that good of a friend of yours, usually photographers and stuff, especially if you're a student or if you're younger or if they're just starting out, they'll usually be more than happy to do it for very cheap, and it's better than you taking it yourself. I'm just saying. Unless you're a photographer too. And then I filmed a demo reel. I just found like 3 scenes that I liked, and I just memorized them pretty quickly. First I was like, I needed to develop the character, but you know, they're not really looking for that in your demo reel. They're kind of just looking for how you sound, how you look. That's mostly what I take from it. That's the gist. Yeah, so I put that together, and that was like one day that I made my demo reel. I think you should challenge yourself to make your demo reel in 1 day or 2. I don't know. It doesn't have to be 1 day is all I'm saying, but like a short amount of time. Don't think too much about it. I think that can really help you just learn to do that in your acting in general, but also get the ball rolling. So I had my headshot and I had my reel, and I filled a little bit of my resume, but I don't have that many credits. I'm very new to to acting. And I tried to do it all my life, but like there were just mental barriers and just like emotional barriers. You just have to keep battling it out. And it's taken years. It's taken years for me to actually begin doing this, but you can do it. It's kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing what we can do that we think we can't. I know that sounds so like, well, duh, but like the things that we don't know, it is shocking that we're capable of them. I'm shocked. Yeah, you can do it. We can learn so many things. If physically you're able to do it, you know you can do it, even if it's really poorly. Seriously. You can do it. There's a lot of factors that go into that, but I don't think that luck has anything to do with your ability to actually execute something. I think that luck has something to do with success, but that also is whittled down to what you define success as. I don't know, I haven't actually thought that much about luck. Luck is a new one that I'm thinking about. I mean, you can't really wait for luck and you can't look for luck. That's not how luck works. Honestly, I don't think thinking about it is gonna help you that much. But the thing that's on my mind right now is rejection. What? You're an actor and you're thinking about rejection? Now that's crazy. No, but in all seriousness, I get it, but I don't get it. There's so much that goes on that we don't know about. Usually it's all correct in the end, you know what I mean? If you don't get a role, it's because they didn't have whoever they wanted to cast, maybe as like a scene partner, a frequent scene partner with you, right? You weren't the right duo. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like we all have a look, whether we like it or not, we have a look, and I'm still trying to accept that too. I'm trying to accept everything, pretty much. But we all have a look, we all have a sound, and we all have something that we give off. They're important to know, but it's just confusing at first because I think what I get a lot, naive and cute. I can definitely see both of those things coming from me. I'm just a very smiley person. I try to be very positive, like when I'm around other people. Just knowing that it still hasn't helped me. It honestly confuses me a little bit more. I think starting with the awareness helps you pull back. I mean, I think in my recent auditions, I filmed one yesterday and I was supposed to be like a teenager that is embarrassed by her parents and everything they do makes her cringe, and she's just sort of like, you would think she hated her parents, but she actually loves them. I don't think I smiled really nearly as much as I normally would have. Yeah, this is all just a random talk. I mean, I think that's important to have. On the note of rejection, it was like my second week into being back on Actors Access. Got it? Got it. I honestly was just submitting for everything, so I was not remembering really what I was submitting for. The one thing I learned like on week 3, no, honestly maybe week 4 then, because this was very new. I should not be submitting just for everything that I could do personally. Then I would get auditions that I was like, the writing is not what I like. And I could have known that if I had read the logline and the breakdown a little bit more thoroughly. And so I did decline those auditions, but I didn't feel good declining them because they also don't ask everyone to audition. If you are getting that opportunity, turning it down it just doesn't feel good because you're like, this is an opportunity I just said no to, and I really had no right saying no to this opportunity. But also you do. You want to be in projects that you actually like, as painful as that can be, because most of them will reject you. And it's not like they're rejecting you, they're just not choosing you. And it's really not our fault. We're doing everything we can. We're just being ourselves. So yeah, I didn't even remember really submitting to this. I actually do remember reading this because I remember my reaction to the logline was like, okay, because it said in an iconic 1980s town or something like that. I was like, iconic. You're good. But honestly, and then I got the audition, self-tape request for it. I reread everything and I was like, oh, okay. This character is actually kind of interesting. Not really like me, but kind of like me. I felt a little stupid for laughing at it because then I started, like, they had a website for it and everything, and they had a lot to go off of for this project. And so I started, like, you should do your research if you can, but also if you do your research, you're likely to get more attached, or I'm likely to get more attached. I'm speaking from my experience. So yeah, I did my research and they had so much to go off of. I was like, there's a lot of heart being poured into this project, and I love that. The writing was great, the character relationships were great, and there was just so much in there to unpack. And so I did my audition, and I went out. This is the first time that I've ever done anything like this, but I was just like, I think I have like a shirt that this character would wear. I think I wore like a sweater because it was 1980s, and I was kind of going off of Nancy and Stranger Things because I was just like, I just feel like, well, they're in the 80s, and I just feel like they would kind of dress similarly. So I just had a little fun sweater, and then I was like, but you know, my hair, I just don't think like my normal hair, like she would wear it like this. And then I went and I got like those like headbands that are like they're a circle, then you put them over, and then they're kind of sporty a little bit, right? That's just something that I thought would be fun to note. And then I did my audition, and I was just having fun the whole time. I was nervous. Like, the more you do it, the more you get into it, and the more you get attached to it, and the more you just start to fall in love with the character. That's mostly what it is. You start to fall in love with the character. Then I submitted it, and then that whole week, sometimes they tell you when the callbacks are, and so on the listing it said callbacks in person to be announced. Oh my god, I just hope. And then a whole week passes by, one whole set of 7 days, and I am a wreck, like, emotionally. It's hard. I'm still thinking about the character. I'm still thinking about everything. I'm still thinking about how great the project is. I'm 24/7, I tell you. I do not exaggerate when I say this. The days were slow and down to the seconds and the minutes, and it's still plaguing me. Is why I'm making this video, because I just feel like it's driving me insane. And I told everyone about it, so this is my last resort. Maybe it can help someone, is what I'm thinking. And I'm just remembering that I cried earlier. So what are you gonna do? Once it hit day 7, I was like, I was searching on Reddit when new callbacks, like, usually people tell you if it's 7 days, you should probably move on. And I'm not auditioning for, like, HBO or anything over here. I'm just auditioning for, like, indie projects, and which are my favorite, which is harder. But yeah, so day 7, I need to stop thinking about this because I don't think I got a callback. And then I start trying to return to normal life, still with it in the back of my mind, lingering, breathing down my neck. I start, like, folding my clothes, and then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna check my email, and I got a callback for it, and I was like, oh my god. And they actually weren't doing them in person. They can change it to Zoom, so they made it a Zoom callback. And oh my god, when I saw that, I started crying because I was killing myself over this. I was literally slowly dying, withering away, I'm pretty sure. And I ran and I told everyone, and I cried, and I called everyone, and just to tell them I got a callback. Can you believe that? That's the life of an actor. And that callback was a week later. So I had the whole week to think about it, prepare for it, and I watched videos, and I didn't really know what to expect. But one thing when you're doing a Zoom callback, test the Zoom. I know everyone's gonna tell you that in every video, you've probably already heard that, but if you haven't heard it, test the Zoom. And I did it on my phone because someone said it was better quality. I was just like, well, why not? Also, I just had my self-tape set up, so I was just like, perfect, I can just put it right there. I was so excited, but then I was so nervous, and then it was the day of, and I couldn't sleep, and my stomach hurt, and then I woke up like super early, way earlier than I ever do. I couldn't eat, really. I ate because I knew that I needed something, or else I would have no energy. 10 minutes before, I think, I was like, okay, I need to tell everyone to be quiet, and then they were, which was really nice. Just waiting in the waiting room, and oh my god, it's making me nervous thinking about it. Seriously, like, yeah. I was just like, deep breaths. Then the little circle starts moving, and I'm joining the room, and the first face I see is the director. And at first, because I didn't know how it worked on my phone, I was like, is he the only one here? Because it takes up your whole screen. But he was not the only one. There was a few other people. And then the casting director was there, and then there was a person pre-cast for the role that was like would be my scene partner. So he was there to be the reader, which was nice, that it wasn't just a reader, which just feels a little less personal sometimes. And then there was 2 producers in there, and they didn't talk. Just flies on the wall. So the casting director, like, yeah, basically said everything I just said now. And then we ran the scene, just the same one from the tape. The director started, like, laughing a little bit when he muted himself and turned off his camera, and then he came back after. He came back with a little bit of a chuckle, and he was like, well, that's an interesting interpretation of the character. Oh, and then he said, you certainly made me smile. I don't know if that's a good thing. I can't tell if that's a good thing, because it's not a comedy. So he was happy. He was having fun. So at that point, I just sort of let go, you know, just a little bit, and I was just like, I'm just gonna have fun now. He asked me my interpretation of the character, and this is where I wish that I had gotten a little bit more personal. I got slightly personal, but I was still guarded, and I wasn't saying my full connection to the character, I guess, and that's sort of what he asked. He was like, how did you interpret her? And that's also, I feel like, code for, like, how does she connect to you? After I told him, he was like, well, I think that was a correct interpretation of her, like, that's what she was intended to be like. But he sounded like, you know, he wanted something a little bit more. And then he gave me he let me do the scene again, and this time he said let's consider 2 what ifs. And I was like, what's a what if? Or like I figured it was some sort of direction tool, but it was cool. Like I just never really been directed before. What if she's uncertain about this? And what if she is suspicious of this? And I was like, okay. He was like, you have any questions? And maybe he wanted me to have questions, but I really didn't. And I couldn't force myself to have any questions about the what ifs. You know, I was just like, I don't think I should ask questions. I should just go for it. I think I said, nope, I got this. And he laughed at that too. So I don't know why he laughed at me. No, I think it was just fun. And then I don't really remember it as much the second time. So I think that means I was in the moment. I think I just tried to feel that way, that the what ifs, try to feel the what ifs, you know. Then he came back from the depths of Zoom. Then he was just smiling again, and he chuckled a little bit again, and I was like, I think I toned it down, so I don't know what you're laughing at. I was just confused. I wish that I could have I wished it could have been more of a conversation where like I was allowed to say the things that, you know, we're not really supposed to say as actors, like if I questioned every single thing that he did. First of all, that would be annoying, but second of all, like, we don't have time for that. I just felt good. I was just like, I'm playing, you know, I'm just playing. Let me tell you, acting on Zoom is quite the beast. I kept forgetting he was in my phone, especially on my phone. I think that's the con about doing it on your phone, is that they're so small that you can't even take them seriously. Like, and well, no, you can. I took him seriously, but he was like so small that I was like, I keep forgetting to act with you. Also with self-tapes, I don't really look at my friend because, well, they're my friend and we would just be laughing. So like, I just sort of look in their direction. I just sort of picture someone. So I was still picturing him because I'd seen him before. But I kept forgetting he was right in front of me, but he wasn't. You know, that's just how Zoom is. But I've done it before since I took classes on Zoom before, like acting classes. I would suggest taking a Zoom acting class because I think it teaches you a lot about how to handle like a Zoom audition. Oh, and then they asked me if I had any questions. Okay, one tip. Write down questions as you read the script. It doesn't matter if you think it's a good question or not, just questions that matter to you. You know, whether that be a character question, whether that be like a general creative question, whether it be a little bit more about who wrote it or how the director views it or how your scene partner might view it or something. Just any questions that you would have for anyone during the process. And then I would also pick the ones that you're wondering the most about. Because yeah, they might ask you like, do you have any questions for me? Nothing they do is to trick you. It just feels like a trap. They just want to get more of you and the material without having you read more, if that makes sense. Like how do you view this material and how what would it be like to work with you as an actor, and like what kind of questions can I expect from you to ask for me? Like, so yeah, ask questions even if you think that they're bad, because when he asked, it was the director. It was like meeting a superhero. It was like meeting a celebrity. I was so excited and I was really playing it cool. Playing it way cooler than I felt. I was like, oh my god, he's talking to me. He doesn't know, he barely knows me, but I know him way more than he knows me. I know a lot about his life. And there's very little on his life out there, so I happen to know a lot. But yeah, when he asked me if I had any questions, my initial instinct was like, they don't have time for my questions. They've got loads of other people to see. Which was stupid because it's my audition time. What I said, I don't suggest saying this. I was like, I mean, I do, but I don't think I need to ask them right now. What I think I was trying to do there was like insinuate like, we're gonna be working together, so. Which is like, it's just almost like a joke. Like I was making a joke, but not, I don't know. But luckily, he gave me a second chance. He was like, no, like if you had one question for me, what would you ask me? And then he was like, no pressure. I just thought that was really nice. I was just like, okay, this feels like you care what I have to say and what I'm thinking. And that's really nice, honestly. Looking back on that, I was like, I guess it's more of a creative question because I didn't feel like it was super like a character question, but it sort of is. He's also the writer. Oh, I was like, even though the character and you are so different, is there still a piece of you in her? He was pleasantly surprised by that question, which was nice. And he was like, I hadn't thought about that. That made me feel good. Because that's the thing. I was like, that's a question no one's gonna care for. I was just a little insecure about it. Because I didn't value my perspective that much. And I think that's something that I have to learn a little bit more is like, I get to form an opinion. I have an opinion. That's what they're looking for in an actor is like, you have to make choices, so you have to have an opinion. Then he was like, I hadn't thought about that before. when he had to think about it. And the casting director even said that was a good question, and that made me feel good. He sort of didn't have the right answer to it, you know, like the answer that he would have wanted to have. I don't think it was sort of, it was a little bit humorous. And he was like, I've got to come up with a better answer to that. That was just, I think that was a nice note to sort of leave it off on. And then he was like, well, thanks for coming. And then the casting director just checked my details again. Then I was off. Now it's day 7. It's been a week. And obviously it was a good experience, right? They actually said that they were trying to make casting decisions by Friday. And today's Saturday. I didn't get anything on Friday, and I haven't gotten anything today. You know I've been checking obsessively, so I'm just making this video as hopefully an end to this overthinking cycle. And I was sort of starting to get embarrassed about my callback and my normal audition because I didn't realize how far from sort of how he viewed the character a little bit it was initially, but it still got me a callback. So just do it. Just do it the way that you're reading it. And getting a callback is so fun. One thing a teacher told me, they said if you make it to a callback, then you've done everything that you can correctly. I think why that resonates with me, because I need to learn to let it go after the callback. I think there's truth to it. In the callback, like, they're considering you. And then after that, there's a lot of decisions that don't have to do with you that could end up helping it go your way and could make it go the opposite direction. But you gave it your good go, and you put yourself out there, and a casting director saw you and met you, and you got to talk to a casting director, and you got to meet a director, and you got to meet another actor, and you got to be seen by some producers. Now that it's day 7, you know, I'm telling myself I have to let it go because my mind is like so hopeful that it's like, well, maybe they're just running behind. Maybe they're really stuck on a different decision. They haven't even gotten to this one yet. But chances are someone else got the email message that of my dreams, and probably of their dreams too. And they're not taking anything from me. They earned something that I didn't have, that they didn't have. And you know, they've probably been at this longer than I have. It just feels like I was in love, and the person I love, they chose someone else, and now I'm heartbroken. And I just can't even fathom being with someone else, but like I can. And you know, everything that I've learned from this callback, I'm gonna take to my next callback. So yeah, there's a lot of wins in there that we don't see that are bigger than the loss. But in reality, they're not even losses. So just keep slugging away, keep auditioning. I don't know, there's so much more I could talk about. I know there's probably a lot of young or just new actresses and actors out there who maybe needed to hear this. You are enough. You've got this. You're not losing anything if you don't get the part. Acting is about living, so remember to live. Remember to have fun. That's all for today's video. Look forward to hopefully telling you about better thoughts and the good days, because this is an example of a bad day. Hopefully I'll be back with something else if other people resonate with this video. If you want to hear about the good days that I hopefully will have someday, and if you want to hear about more of the bad days, and if you just want some tips and advice as I learn, and if you just want to grow with me, we can grow together. Have a great day. It was a pleasure. Great talking to you.